Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we are circling back to something in the UK to see something that I think is a little bit... I'm looking for a word other than stupid. Different. Yeah, we'll go with odd. We'll go with different as opposed to stupid. That's probably the better way to say it. But first, just as a note here, thank you for putting up with the lighting that we're dealing with within these episodes. I would very much accept recommendations on individual, single, non-super expensive, maybe lights that are just on a stand that I could set up in the room here or something, because at this point most of my recording is going to have to be by definition at night, so the sunlight that usually helps make the light not suck is no longer an option. So I'm constantly dealing with this thing having issues. Like, half the time when I record halfway through the video, it turns super, super red. It's really starting to piss me off. So if you've got any recommendations on single stand lights that are relatively inexpensive, that could just be set up with just the one light so I could actually record with consistent lighting, I would very much appreciate it. But anyway, what we're taking a look at here is some Clone Wars releases from the UK, but they did it a little bit weird. In the US, we're used to the idea that when a season of a TV show is over, that's when you get a season set on home video. And prior to that, you might get episodes on, iTunes or some kind of digital platform, but you're not going to get them on home video. It's very rare to see individual episodes or groups of episodes on DVD or Blu-ray outside of a season set over here. And with Clone Wars, they sort of dipped their feet into it, but seem to have given up fairly quickly, right? So we had the Season 1 set come out at the end of Season 1, but prior to that, there were two attempts, sort of three, but two main attempts to jump in and say, hey, let's see if consumers will buy some groups of Clone Wars episodes instead of waiting for the seasons to be done. Especially since it's a kid's show, maybe this is something that parents will buy for their kids and sort of get into that market. And the first attempt to do that was A Galaxy Divided, which had Ambush and the Malevolence trilogy on it. And this is the one that had that Walmart exclusive available, that also included the bonus 5th episode, which was Downfall of a Droid. And the only other time they attempted that for Season 1 was Clone Commandos, which included the Ryloth trilogy and Rookies. There was no exclusive version of this available anywhere. And then eventually we did see another individual non-season release of Clone Wars stuff, but it was Darth Maul Returns, where they took the 4 Darth Maul episodes out of its particular season, crammed them together, and re-edited them to make sort of a feature film version of the Darth Maul episodes. So not really individual episodes being released. And then in 2013, of course, during the Blitz, as I call it, that 8-day stretch with a ton of new releases, we had the 3-pack that just took those 3 and lumped them together. But they could do that, because those are the only 3 they ever did. Otherwise, it was Season 1 set, 2, 3, 4, or 5 set, Lost Mission set, and the only time we ever got a box set of all the different seasons together was 1 through 5 as that collector's edition before 6 was out on Netflix, or Lost Missions was out on Netflix. So, not a lot of options in the US. You get 1 through 5 and buy Lost Missions, or you get all the seasons separately, but those were a little bit odd. But remember, these were actually kind of useful, because in the Season 1 box set, there were several episodes that were director's cuts, and all the episodes were theatrical widescreen rather than 16:9 widescreen as they had aired on television. Well, if you wanted to get the regular original aired version of most of those director's cuts, you could get them on either A Galaxy Divided or Clone Commandos. They were right there, right? The only one that you couldn't do that with was Lair of Grievous. For Lair of Grievous, if you wanted the aired version, you had to go on iTunes or something and get a digital file, because there hadn't been a US Region 1 DVD or Blu-ray release, Region A for Blu-ray, but no American home video release on physical media of Lair of Grievous outside of its director's cut, which was a little bit frustrating for those of us who are completists. In the UK, the approach was very, very different, but odd. So on November 16th of 2009, right after Season 1 was over, they got their Season 1 Blu-ray and DVD sets. And alongside that, they got something we didn't, which we've looked at before, which is that complete Seasons 1 and 2 boxed set. Remember, in the UK, every time a new season was released, there was a boxed set that took that season and then all the previous seasons and lumped them together. So there's a season 1 and 2 set, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There hasn't been one for Lost Missions included because of the whole rights issue of Netflix and Walt Disney Home Video versus Warner Brothers Home Entertainment and that sort of thing. But they got a season 1 set in November of 2009, very much similar to what we saw in the US with a season 1 set. But see, they also got some other releases for season 1. They got 4 individual volumes of 5 or 6 episodes each, depending on which one we're looking at, that took them through season 1 in 4 volumes, where they could have bought them individually on DVD instead of as a season set. Sounds interesting. Sounds kind of like what we sometimes saw in the US, usually in like the kiddie market, where it's individual episodes like Galaxy Divided or Clone Commandos, and then eventually those tide you over and then you can get the season set. Especially if those DVD releases or those individual releases are 16:9 and not director's cuts, they're just tiding us over until the season set comes around, right? That must have been what the UK did. But no, it's actually the opposite. The UK got their season set in November of 2009. It was nearly a year later, on August 23rd, 2010, that they released 4 individual volumes for season 1. And that's not where the strangeness ends, because each of these volumes included the original aired versions of the episodes, 16:9, instead of theatrical widescreen, and not director's cuts. So in other words, whereas the season set was supposed to be this awesome thing because now it's director's cuts and it's theatrical widescreen, this is how the Clone Wars is meant to be seen, they then turned around about a year later and said, that was how the Clone Wars was meant to be seen. But F it! If you'd rather watch it in the crappy way, here you go! Really strange. And again, all released on the same day. So if you were getting them as they came out, it's kind of like buying a season set, because you would have bought all 4 of them at the same time. What? Anyway, here's what you could have gotten for season 1 in the UK almost a year after the season 1 Blu-ray and DVD sets. We start out with season 1, volume 1. You notice it looks a lot like a Galaxy Divided, but all of these are going to say pretty much the same thing. At the top, it'll say 5 or 6 episodes from the hit animated series. You'll have some kind of image there with the characters. In this case, we've got Grievous, Asajj, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. You're going to have the Clone Wars logo. It's going to say season whatever, in this case, season 1, volume 1, whichever volume out of 4. And then down in the corner, typically that's where you're going to have your ratings for the UK and Ireland. Right? So that's what our cover for this one looks like, but they're all going to be laid out very similarly. The spine is going to give us the Lucasfilm logo, and then the number of the volume within the season, but not the season itself's number, which is going to be an issue later. Star Wars The Clone Wars. Then we've got our UK and then Ireland ratings, DVD symbol, and then Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. On the back, and note, this is a clear Blu-ray case, not a black one. That's going to be the case throughout here. You're going to have a little bit up at the top that tells you which episodes 1 through 5 from the hit television series. Description of what you're going to see. Big image, 3 smaller images from the season, a listing of the episodes in it. In this case, this is Ambush, Rising Malevolence, Shadow of Malevolence, Destroy Malevolence, and Rookies. Then on the bottom, you're going to have sort of your technical specs. You've got your ratings with descriptions again, your UPC and DVD symbols and whatnot over off to the side. This is Region 2, because this is DVD. And down at the bottom, there's your legalese. As for the content descriptor over there, this does let us know that on these DVDs, which are just the episodes, no bonus features to speak of whatsoever on any of these, you've got 60:9 full frame aspect ratio. Wow, that's going to confuse people. Full frame, which makes you think full screen, which is 4:3. No, this is 16:9, the taller version of widescreen. We'll put it that way for the uninitiated. Language-wise, you have audio options for English, Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish, and for subtitles, all of those plus Finnish, if you like. Okay, so we got our Volume 1. There's no paper to speak of or anything like that. As for the label, just like the packaging looks like a Galaxy Divided, so does the disc label, pretty much. We got Clone Wars Season 1, Volume 1. We got Grievous on one side, Rex and Yoda on the other. DVD symbol in Region 2, along with the ratings off to the side. For rental or resale there in yellow. And then Lucasfilm and Warner Bros. Home Entertainment logos underneath with legalese running around the edge. But it looks like the regular, not the Walmart exclusive label from Galaxy Divided. Then on August 23rd, the same day, Season 1, Volume 2. Now we're getting into covers that don't look like the ones we've seen before. None of these are going to use the Clone Commandos cover. So we've got 5 episodes from the hit animated series. Again, laid out basically the same way, except this is Season 1, Volume 2. Now we've got Battle Droids and Grievous. We've got Kit Fisto, Ahsoka, and R2-D2. Similar spine. Similar back design. This time, this is Downfall of a Droid, Duel of the Droids, Bombad Jedi, Cloak of Darkness, and Lair of Grievous. And our disc, right here, set up in a very similar fashion. C-3PO, Luminara Unduli, and Asajj Ventress. Simultaneously, I'm running out of ways to say the same day, we had Season 1, Volume 3. And 6 episodes this time around. The last 2 volumes are 6, the first 2 volumes are 5. Season 1, Volume 3. We got Hondo Ohnaka and some of his pirate guys. Dooku, Ahsoka, looking very peevish. And Obi-Wan and Aayla Secura. Ratings out at the bottom. Again, similar spine, denoting the volume within the season, but not which season. Similar back case design. I do like the blue look to it because this is going to have Trespass on it. Speaking of which, we have Dooku captured, the Gungan General, Jedi Crash, Defenders of Peace, Trespass, and the Hidden Enemy on this one. And then there's our disc. A slight redesign to where the bits and pieces are, but otherwise the same information. So Clone Wars up at the top, Season 1, Volume 3. Then underneath the whole, you got your ratings, DVD symbol, Region 2 symbol for rental or resale. I always screw up that. Lucasfilm and Warner Bros. Home Entertainment logos, then legalese going around the bottom on the edge, and then we got Dooku, Aayla, and Ahsoka on this one. Then finally, day and date with those other ones. Season 1, Volume 4. 6 episodes again this time, so no need to go over all the different labels on the cover. But there's our cover art there with Anakin, Mace, and Obi-Wan off to the left, Cad Bane on the far right, and Nuvo Vendi with his Blue Shadow Virus there, played by Michael York, kind of in the center. Similar spine again. Similar back design again. I haven't been reading the tops. They all say episodes whatever through whatever from the hit television series. In this case, 17 through 22, so not a biggie. And then episode-wise, this is Blue Shadow Virus, Mystery of a Thousand Moons, Storm over Ryloth, Innocence of Ryloth, Liberty on Ryloth, and Hostage Crisis. So rounding out the season. And our final disc art, very red, laid out the same way as the previous one. Battle Droids with Wat Tambor, then Cham Syndulla with Little Numa. But it was just really kind of odd. It's been nearly a year. What, people aren't buying the season sets, so now you want to sell them the individual stuff? And you don't want to sell them the really cool theatrical widescreen and director's cuts versions from the season set so that can sort of draw people still to those. Instead, you're going to give them the crappier versions on DVD now individually. And you're not going to stagger them out. You're just going to drop them all on the same day so they can get out before Season 2 hits home video. Really, really strange to me. This made a lot more sense when I originally was confused and thought that they released these as a lead-up to the Season 1 box set. But the fact that it's nearly a year later boggles my mind. Really strange. Maybe what I'm seeing with that release date of August 23rd, 2010 is like a reissue date or something. I hope that it is, but I don't think so. Because if you actually look at these, it says copyright 2010. Right? They should have been out in 2009 or 2008 if they were coming out as the season came out. Just bizarre to me. But it wasn't the last time they would do it. But they would fix the timing, sort of, for the next time. They would still be after a season set, but they'd be staggered rather than all at once. One thing I will say for it that it has going for it that the US does not, though, just, to throw in some positive, Lair of Grievous in its original aired form on physical media. Director's cuts in the season set. There's your unedited unchanged aired version, which couldn't be found on physical home media in the US. So, way to go, UK! For that, at least. So, November 16, 2009, Season 1 box set. August 23rd, 2010, those 4 volumes of Season 1 that kind of defy explanation. 2 months later, November 15th, 2010, a year minus 1 day since the Season 1 set came out, the Season 2 set was released, and that is when this was released alongside it to include Season 2 as well. Then, before we got to the Season 3 release on October 17th, my birthday, of 2011, they staggered out the release of 4 volumes for Season 2. Now, this time no director's cuts to speak of. But, also, still not theatrical widescreen, 16 by 9. Why? Why would anyone want that? So you already had the box set of Season 2 in November. And you had the set with 1 and 2 in it. As of the next month, you could start buying Season 2 piecemeal. So on December 6th of 2010, they released Season 2 Volume 1. The layout, again, is pretty much the same, except the number of episodes will vary. So it's 4 episodes in the first volume, but again, it says the same thing, 4 episodes from the hit animated series. Still the logo with Season whatever, Volume whatever, in this case, Season 2, Volume 1. Still the ratings, though in this case, instead of together at the bottom, they're going to be spread, not most of the Season 2 ones. Okay, and then you got your characters on the cover there. Mace, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Yoda, and Cad Bane, who this time is now holding a holocron. And it's, of course, that red colored scheme of Revenge of the Bounty Hunters. And you look at your spine, you're like, okay, oh look, it's Volume 1. But wait, oh look, it's Volume 1. Now is when the fact that they didn't label the seasons becomes a pain in the ass. Because if you put these on a shelf, or you see these on a shelf with just the spines out, you're going to see the one and another one with no way to distinguish between the two in case you are looking for specific episodes, unless you happen to have memorized the color scheme. So, again, Lucasfilm logo, 1, Star Wars The Clone Wars, rating for the UK and Ireland, DVD, and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, like we saw before, same layout. The back, same layout again, pretty much. Episodes 1 through 4 from Season 2 of the hit television series. It doesn't say from the hit television series, now it says from Season 2 of the hit television series, but otherwise laid out essentially the same as what we saw before. Episode-wise, this one is Holocron Heist, Cargo of Doom, Children of the Force, and Senate Spy. The first 3 being sort of a trilogy. Senate Spy is actually a lead-in to the next episodes, so that's kind of a weird place to split it, but of course they're going in airing order here. This time, languages are different. Previously, it was English, Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish. This time, it's English, Castilian, Spanish, and German, with subtitles for English, Castilian, Spanish, and German. So, Finnish, totally left out. Danish, totally left out. Norwegian, Swedish. Basically, everything but English got completely changed for Season 2. Whatever, I guess. As for the disc, a similar layout to what we saw before, just with the ratings kind of shifted. So, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Season 2, Volume 1. Then underneath the whole, off to the side, we've got the ratings there, this time off to the right. Then underneath Lucasfilm logo, Warner Bros. Home Entertainment logo, DVD logo, and region number. It is Region 2. Again, for rental or resale. And then going around the edge there is your legalese. Here we have Cad Bane, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Then, rather than releasing on the same day, over 3 months passed. And that brought us Season 2, Volume 2 on March 21st, 2011. Okay, cool looking there. Same setup, only this time it's 6 episodes rather than 4. Same setup for all the labels and everything, same placement for the ratings and all. This time we have Pongo the Lesser and some Geonosians. We've got Ahsoka, Anakin, and Rex. The back, other than noting it's episodes 5 through 10, pretty much the same thing. As for which episodes are in it, this is Landing at Point Rain, Weapons Factory, Legacy of Terror, Brain Invaders, Grievous Intrigue, and The Deserter. So, it's sort of 2 arcs. A lot of folks think of Landing at Point Rain as the beginning of the second Battle of Geonosis arc, but it's not really, because Senate Spy is a direct lead-in. It's almost like a prequel to it, sort of the setup for it. But if you're doing it by airing order, you kind of got to divide it up in a similar way to this. Otherwise, they would have had to put Landing at Point Rain on Volume 1 and make it even more difficult to transition between the two. So I get why they did it. It's just a little odd to me. And yes, Grievous Intrigue and The Deserter are that two-parter, so it makes sense to end where they ended here. Okay, so once again, similar design. And this time, we're moving the ratings around again. We have Ahsoka and Poggle the Lesser, Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 2, Volume 2. Underneath your ratings, Lucasfilm, Warner Brothers, DVD, Region 2, 4, rental, blah, 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 legalese. Same layout, just different spot for our ratings. Okay. Then, jump ahead by 2 months and 9 days, and on May 30th, 2011, there came Volume 3. Okay, so Volume 3 bring us The Mandalorians, which is cool, of course. 6 episodes again this time around. Red logo there and whatnot. Spine. I don't know if I showed you the spine on the other, but, you know, saying spine is what we keep seeing, right? It's only the fact that it's red lettering that tells you it's Season 2. Alright, then you got Satine, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, and then Pre Vizsla and one of his other Mandalorians there. His Death Watch members. Back pretty similar. Okay. The disc, Satine and Pre Vizsla, laid out basically like the other one was just now that we saw. But, interestingly, inside this one you actually have some stuff inserted. We have a Clone Wars toy advertisement, take charge of the battle, etc., etc. And you may recall that there were some Clone Wars comics that the US didn't get initially that were reprinted over here from the UK in a comic, in a magazine called Clone Wars. And eventually when the Clone Wars magazine ended, there were still some that were never reprinted over here from the UK. Same thing happened then with Rebels and the US Rebels magazine, reprinting the ones from the UK. The US one ended. I think the UK one also then ended, but there were still German ones, for instance, going on for Rebels. But the UK version of what we think of as the Clone Wars magazine was a Star Wars magazine that included comics. And as a way to kind of get you into it, they actually provided a little exclusive comic preview with Volume 3 here. Amazing comic. I'll be the judge of that. Ultimate Jedi battles. Oh, you're setting the bar high. Fantastic features. Oh, bar's too high now. You're never going to meet that. Exclusive Season 2 comic book. Ahsoka, Anakin, battle droids, legalese at the bottom. Lucas Books symbol, Titan Comics symbol down there. Advertisement for the magazine on the back for their versions of Star Wars Insider and Star Wars The Clone Wars. Look inside, and so on and so on. You basically have A Trooper's Tale is the comic, then Ultimate Jedi Battles of Season 2, and then the comic continues, and you get, well, Monstrous Spice, which I guess is supposed, or excuse me, Monstrous Splice. Monstrous Splice. Okay, you forgive me for thinking it's not Monstrous Splice. It's Monstrous Splice because it's basically it's like Obi-Wan's legs on with Barriss's body. But seeing Barriss right there as the main feature with the ladies behind her, you forgive me for thinking that was a Star Wars Spice Girls parody, but it is not. But kind of cool that they gave us, you know, a little preview comic in here. You could get it elsewhere, but pretty neat that you could get it with the DVD and get some extra value for buying this bizarre 16:9 really late arrival. Then finally, on August 22nd, 2011, just about 2 months prior to the release of Season 3 as a season set, we got the last of Season 2, which is also in the UK the last time that they released any of these types of volumes. After this, it was season sets and sets of season sets, no more of these individual volumes. This is our end of Season 2. 6 episodes, as it says up there on the top. You have Anakin, Plo Koon, and R2-D2 together, and then Bossk, Aurra Sing, and Boba Fett together there. Same layout. The back, effectively same layout. Episodes Bounty Hunters, The Zillo Beast. The Zillo Beast Strikes Back, Death Trap, R2 Come Home, and Lethal Trackdown. There is our spine. Again, red, so you can tell that it's Season 2, but no actual label to say so. No new comics or anything, or any cool inserts or anything like that. Just the disc and it is Anakin and Hondo with a similar layout to what we saw for the last couple of discs. So really kind of an odd way of going about it, at least in my opinion. It's 8 items you can get for your Star Wars Home Video collection that are from the UK, that are specific to Clone Wars, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars. One of them's got the little comic with it. You got this weird thing of the language options shifting from Season 1 to Season 2, and the odd way they were released after the season sets. One season all at once, the other season staggered. Just strange. It's really odd to see them, or at least it feels odd to me, to see them release what amounts to an inferior product after releasing the superior one, especially staggering it out like they did with Season 2. Maybe that's just the norm. I don't think that it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. That may be the case. I'm not really up on the regular release styles that we see in the UK market. I'm mainly focused on the Star Wars releases, and this is the one time we saw that. But definitely something unusual that leads to some interesting exploration of alternate ways to approach releasing the Clone Wars, this time from the UK. Thankfully, these are the only 8 that there are. If you're in Australia, there was even more. But we'll deal with that at another time if I decide to pick those up. Whew! So much Clone Wars. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.